Um, it had to be last week, Wednesday, or do you want the meeting packet? The meeting packet was sent Monday night. If you need- Okay.
I'm going to start the meeting for the 25th, one decision now called for order. I would ask you to stand with me for the invocation by Commissioner Cole, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Our gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we do thank you for this great country that we live in. We thank you for our leaders that we have, the state of our union that we seem to be in good shape. And Lord, we just ask that you protect our elected officials, watch over them, keep them safe. Ask too that you meet with us tonight, give us the wisdom and that we need for discernment. We pray too that you watch over our first responders and servicemen and women, and we just pray for peace, world peace. Thank you for all that you do for us. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, and to my nation, I God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And
Commissioner Cole,
here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Hill,
Here.
Vice Chair Moore,
Here.
Chair Nelson.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, I'd like to welcome our guests tonight. We have Mr. King is with us tonight. He appreciates you coming. We have Lou and Catherine. Thank you for coming. We look forward to hearing from you here in just a short second. Uh, we have Mr. King who is going to be speaking to us on non-agenda items. So Mr. King, if you please come on up.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. Thanks for giving me this time to talk to you. My name is Peter King. I'm a city planner by training. Started out doing long-range planning for the military a long time ago. I was plan director here for a short period of time. I was city planner in the city of Jacksonville, and then I was planning director in Nassau County. So kind of, this is my topic grant. I have my own real estate development company now that specializes in telecom energy. And so I'm here tonight to talk to you about energy resilience, mobility, independence from Dana. Northeast Florida's local grid increasing pressure, uh, and now more than ever because of data center expansion. Data center expansion is going to drive it's going to require infrastructure improvements that are going to drive great costs, particularly for large commercial industrial users because of volume power, pay more than their fair share of all this infrastructure. I became interested in solar, kind of the bug, so to speak, when I discovered this place down in Gainesville called San Velasco Tech City. And it really knocked my socks off. 4 megawatts of rooftop solar. They're 100% occupied. They're still building new buildings because it's so popular. None of the kids there pay a dime for the power. And right now, cumulative is about $70,000 a month. But of course, that's going to go way up once the rates go. So 70,000 is like the base I have right now. Briefly looked at some aerials, and I'd say the Port of Fernandina possesses the necessary rooftops, warehouses to support about a 2 megawatt system, which is pretty substantial. Comprehensive solar and storage installation would deliver immediate power reductions, strong return on investment, faster coverage from small events, improve grid reliability, and protect against future increases in utility. County commissioners are expected the board to evaluate solar energy storage opportunities, consider issuing an RFP for a solar storage system. Of course, I'm prepared staff at a time your full board to provide a detailed visibility and data if you shall desire. And that's all I have to say. I really appreciate your time giving me the opportunity to speak, and I'll be here if you all have any questions.
All right, very good. All right, moving on to item number 7, old business. You have a other comment, Kathy?
Are we 70 or?
Pardon?
I'm Catherine there,
Oh.
32 North Third Street, and I mean, it's the same thing. I almost feel bad about it again because here we are again, and I just love you because nothing's happened. There's a letter in the packet that gives you a status that I think I heard almost every one of you guys talk about 2 years ago. It's in floodplain. Go ahead, but there they did, and so now we have a letter. That's not really the progress. Where's the? Has it been resubmitted? On what date? To whom? What's the forecast date? Who's really holding this up? And I'm afraid that you're gonna find out it's real. So I don't feel like we're seeing anything but shuffle, another excuse, another. And I don't understand how, as a citizen, I can make this report. I don't know what to do, but to appeal to you as a board and say, this has been long. We've talked and we've promised and we've committed and we've negotiated. And now we've gone back to the original location. That's okay. Just do something. The first step in moving it is taking it down. You're going to take it down. You're going to put the fabric somewhere. And then you're going to start moving the ground. Take a step. How long you set that fabric for, I don't care. Just start something instead of continually telling us it's under review, it's under evaluation, we're thinking about it for $1 million. I don't see anything happen. It's in violation. It's a fire hazard. We have no permission for it to be there. I don't see an operator willing to move it. So what are you guys gonna do? I mean, it's not hard. It's a JOT, right? We can do that. But it needs to move. You said it. It's the code. Let's do something about it. Thank you.
Commissioner, without any objection, while we're on the subject, let's go ahead and deal with it, and then we'll go back to ADA compliant website. Any objection? Mr. Cole?
I just have a question on that, what you just talked about. I noticed when I went there last few weeks or so, every time we go there, those fabric warehouses are empty. Now, is this for a reason? Is this for to take down? Is this why? Or
The unfortunate answer to that is we do not have the means of cargo coming in at this point. I can give updates and timelines, and I thank you for your comment, man, because I respectfully agree and understand. I cannot say what happened before I got here. I can honestly tell you what has happened and been delays while I've been here. But to answer your question, Commissioner Cole, is It's lack of cargo at the moment. We are working hard. We're driving hard to get cargo in here. But with that said, I can give updates right now. What happened? I can rerun what I did last meeting, and I kind of stole it from Ted because honestly, to begin with, I wanted to move the buildings side by side. I wanted to do that because my stevedoring brain thought it would be better. That's what I know. That's what I do. I thought it would be a better situation. It it didn't work out. Two, I was trying to do it myself. I was trying to do it myself. I'm not an engineer. I don't have pull permits. I'm a stevedore. I know how to work ships and warehouses. It got delayed. We have since then, when we can get into it now, I provided the map for the relocation, as she stated. Um, and we're doing that because it's the right thing to do. We got to move it. It's been too long. It has been. Steps have been taken since the last meeting. We have got the map. I've gotten stuff back for the flood plains from Aptum as well. We hired them to do that, but we hired a general contractor, Coker Industrial. And so the last meeting was on the 11th. I got an agreement with them on the 13th. And on the 16th, which was President's Day, he actually had two permits pulled, did them digitally, and I got copies for everyone because I did not get it to Miss Rosanna in the packet, but one for commercial demolition and two for the rebuild afterwards. The steps that are going to happen in between that, if this is approved by the board, is I have to replace the foundation. I've had 4 quotes that I gave to Coker Industrial. They have sent, he told me that he's going to get a couple more of people that he knows and trusts. Absolutely fine with that. And we met last Friday. We walked the site where the water is, where the electric is, and what the best routes were to get there. He is also doing everything across the board with the city with permitting. Like I said, he's pulled 2 permits now, and we're working forward as long as this works for both. And I'm trying to fast track this the best I can because it has been too long. It has been exactly too long. I get this was what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to do it as fast as possible. Right now, I'm held up with what Coker Industrial is doing with permitting. And again, I got copies of both of them, both permits for everybody, because if we need to distribute that. Also, we've had Aptum address the technical review committee's thoughts on the floodplains and how to mitigate that or what's the best way to do it. And when we were walking the site for the floodplains and the flow between hydrostatic pressure, he's got options he's doing with the city because the building itself, the skeleton is elevated an inch on one side and 3/4 on the other, where the floodwaters flow through there. If that happens, he's discussing that with the city. I have not got any results from it, but that's where we're going right now. I mean, I could answer any questions you have, steps we've been going forward, but it is in motion if this works for you.
Okay, here, yeah. So we have a demolition.
It's been pulled. It's still pending, and I can show you that, and I can just hand one out to each one of you. It's been pulled as of President's Day. He did that online because no one's in the office, but they've been pulled. It's just still pending.
We got an estimate from the city when they respond favorably.
I asked him as of yesterday. I talked to Kyle Coker, the president of the company, and he literally said, I haven't got any further. I'm waiting on their response. And that's the only answer I can give you, Commissioner. But I do know that we have other sources with him right now. The crane refurbishment, he's part of that. We trust this guy, and he's a local person, and I know that he is committed to making this happen. But that timeline, as far as when that permit comes through, I cannot answer that question right now.
So I think upon the importance to everybody involved, the day that time is approved by the city, begin the demolition.
I promise you, there is no other goal. This is my main focus right now, other than getting cargo in here, warehouse work. This is my main goal right now. And I've never sat on this board and told you anything that I didn't make happen. This is literally what I'm trying to do right now. It's my whole focus. And I promise you, when that permit comes through, I'm on it.
I would say there are steps that can be taken. Right now, where it's empty, worthy, and, you know, for sure you would not see that build up prior to the demolition permit
No, sir.
being approved, and then have another
As unfortunate as it is,
intentions. We've heard a lot of good intentions and, desire bodies, and they just never seem to happen. I would hate to refill that warehouse with carbon, have the permit finally get approved, and then say, well, it's gonna take us 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to empty out the warehouse.
I understand that and I respectfully agree with that. I will tell you, and it's unfortunate that our other fabric building is also empty. Any other cargo comes in that we need to put on the terminal rather than warehouse is going in that building and not this.
That's true. When we were discussing this with your predecessor, we were told that the location of the warehouse was a safety issue for the operation of the port. Can you tell us whether there are any safety concerns with the location?
I don't know that conversation. I can tell you in my conversations when we were talking about it months ago, the building was presented to run north and south or northeast, southwest, somewhat in that back corner. I did not want that. It has not been utilized as a transit shed where you can drive through. I wanted it to north south so we could drive through it. And I gave it 60 foot on the very east side so a truck can transit back out without damaging it like it is now. Uh, how that happened, I wasn't involved. But safety issues, no ma'am. But the way I've
Can you just explain a little bit about, I know you can't tell about the thought process for why this original location was rejected, and your predecessor wanted to put us in its current location. Can you just explain a little bit about that process as to how we got back where we started?
how do we get back where we started?
Right. What is the thought process as to why this location is indeed valid? Because we put a lot of arguments, like from your predecessor, as to why it's invalid, so I take your arguments. I mean, I'm personally new to the location, right? That's originally approved, but I'd love to hear how did you land?
As I said, I convinced Ted to put both buildings side by side, which would take moving the smaller 70-foot wide building about 50 feet to the west, and then putting this one right beside it. Either way, I have to move this one. I have to put fire suppression on that one. And the cost associated with moving both buildings, just I presented it to him. It sounded good. As we saw the cost accumulate, I, I he's like, I can't do it. And I told him I agreed. So honestly, the reason why is I pushed him to do it. It didn't work out. It got delayed several months, and I take full responsibility for that. But that is on me why it didn't now. This is the only other viable option, in my opinion, to put it in this orientation and that location.
I've been told that the ground underneath the current location is bubbling. Is the intent to repair that ground, because I know that there are pavers there, and I was told that the pavers are moved. And pavement was installed, asphalt was installed. Is Savage going to be replacing that
There,
surface?
if there's buckling in there, that's news to me. I'm in that building all the time, and there was only a on the where it's located right now, the very northeastern corner was where they removed pavers. The rest of it was already asphalt.
Mhm.
I mean, you can tell. I mean, if you walk through the building, you can see that. I mean, it's only a very minor amount compared to the square footage on that was pavers.
Okay, the surface will be restored to its prior condition, so
I don't see any issues with the surface, in my opinion. Again, I'm not an engineer. I will take that to Mr. Coker himself, but I don't see where there's any issues with the foundation right now as it sits. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the only thing that I want to point out to the board is that in the initial approval and engineering, the fabric warehouse was to be, north and south in the northeast corner. Now, I can relate to his, thinking, I believe, and why he wants to utilize it that way. Um, he wants to use it as a drive-through. I'm on record saying that that's very difficult to do, because once you take a truck through there, you got approximately, 9 feet wide. Then you have to have working room for your forklifts on both sides, so now you're down to about 75% of your area. That wasn't in our calculations when we initially engineered that for north and south on the northeast portion of the yard. We did put a third door in that fabric warehouse, and that was to allow trucks to pull up. Forklifts grab the cargo off of the trucks and go into the, they could go in from the north to south or in the middle of the. That was the way it was initially planned. I would like to hear some comments back from the commissioners. If, you know, now we're wanting to put it on the north fence, but we want to run it east and west. That's a concern to me, because when those nor'easters come in, that gets wild. Okay. The reason that we went to the northeast, north and south at the top of the yard, that's the highest point. That's the highest point of that yard. So, I would like to see this expedited. We will discuss, the positioning, because that's not the way it was initially approved. This board is gonna have to make up their mind if they will allow that. There will have to be a motion to accept the new location in the same area. But that's not the way the initial approved, fabric warehouse location came about.
May I
Yes, sir.
comment, please,
Yes,
sir?
sir.
So one, yes, you're right. If you drive through as it fills up, you take capacity out of it, you have less room. Again, Stevedore, you and I know this subject, not any disrespect to anybody else, but I'm thinking the first 50% of that, I could have a truck further to the east and unloading there, or vice versa. I'm thinking that we can still drive through and eliminate time, just getting trucks back. Secondly, in my opinion, when you discuss the safety hazard, this building's 220 foot long, and I think it was 275. Please do not quote me on that. I think it was 275 from north to south. I'm thinking safety wise, first responders. Honestly, yeah, they can make that turn. What if we got trucks in the way blocking it? I'm also thinking if we get a flood rain coming out of somewhere with KOB trucks loaded, wood pulp trucks loaded, other than getting them in the warehouse, I got somewhere else to drive them through and store them during that rain. Because we both know that during a rain come out of nowhere, it can happen like that. And I'm trying to get a truck out of the weather with cargo on it. Those are my three thoughts towards that. I, I understand what you're saying. I'm just giving more input to the board of what my reasoning is.
Okay, I can understand that. Uh, Commissioner, the fabric warehouse that this initial engineering was not going to have trucks drive through. That's why we added that third door facing the west. What the trucks are going to do is loop up where you could have forklifts working each door, to expedite it. That's the initial plan of how that, fabric warehouse is going to work. Now, the operator, as you just heard, wants to drive trucks through there. My concern is, here we go back with, now we're going to a third location. I don't want to get into this. I do agree that we need to get this taken care of. I want you to be able to work productively, because that's the only way you're gonna make money. You can't be productive, you're not gonna make any money. So I just want the board to understand that that where it was initially, that this board approved almost 4 years ago. was meant to have the trucks come to the west side, roll around, continue moving. You could stage 3 trucks at once. You're not gonna be able to stage trucks like that on the inside. And, Travis has already said that once you start laying cargo in there, and you have to remember this, fabric warehouse has an arch in it. So you can't go high on your initial lines. You have to go low, but then you can build it high as you get to the center. My point is this, you're eliminating space to operate those forklifts safely. That's my professional opinion. I'm just telling you how it was engineered and how the trucks were going to work. I'd like to hear from you. We've heard from Travis, but we need to move on. We need to move on with this. I just want you to understand how it was initially engineered.
Mr. May I
Yes, sir.
make one more
Yes, sir.
quick comment, two quick comments. One, I would like that middle door positioned to the south. Gives viable options to, like you discussed, having truck here, working in the middle, but I also want to bring to everyone's attention that that middle door is, I don't know the exact measurements. I'm thinking 10, 15 foot wide. We do have 16 foot bundles of lumber, and it's also the height of it is not that much. And I want to just let the board know that we just bought brand new Caterpillar forklifts. And one of them, it's a 3 stage mast, which means there's 2 internal on the outside. And as we're going in a truck, brand new machine supposed to come down, and there was a check valve in a brand new machine that didn't drift, and the operator couldn't see it because it's clamped on the ground. He's going in, and it didn't. He touched the truck, and it didn't damage the truck, thankfully. But it scared everyone at first. But I'm just saying the same thing could happen with a check valve going off in a brand new forklift going into that shorter height door where the ones on the end 6 foot tall. With that being said, going back to my first comment in this conversation, it still, when the warehouse is getting full, we can stage a truck this end, and with smaller bundles and a smaller machine, I can still go through the third door. I'm not trying to combat your discussion. I'm just saying it still presents viable options to work that warehouse in this manner. And this is solely my thought process. That's it. So
So if you're using a side door then to access the warehouse, I don't understand why the original orientation is wrong. Because if you're gonna access from a side door, then why can't you put it in the original spot?
then you only
And
have,
I mean, there's enough room if you rotate it, still access from both sides. And then it's pushed all the way to the back of the port, and you have all of that usable space. Which makes sense if you have like container business or you need the surface of the port for anything, you have more room.
it gives, in my opinion, it gives us more options this way. And again, if we turn it north and south, I believe it was 20 to 25 feet on each end. Turn on the forklift in the door, going in both doors.
I mean, typically I wouldn't argue with you about operational things, but we've just seen so many different arguments for so many different scenarios that I am beginning to question.
Mhm.
And I think like it is a little strange to me that like that's the location it's being suggested when I've been out there in floods. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to be in the highest dry spot.
Well, for the 10 months that I've done the terminal, I have not seen water anywhere close to that location right there. I have not. Even in October and November when we did have the king tides and the high water.
In the back portion, like where we originally wanted to locate it, what's the elevation there?
Ma'am, I do not know the elevation.
What is your highest portion of the terminal? Anything from west of that fabric warehouse down, we've all been out there. The rail, there was a Jersey barrier out there, 36 inches tall, it was completely submerged. Okay, I just don't wanna move it to a place, and then we have water problems, and we're limited on how much, maybe we even have to not use some of the west end of it because the fear of water damage. Of course, that would be on the operator. I just asked this board, we cannot continue to sit here and debate and debate and debate. We have to make a decision. Uh, they've given us another avenue that they want to take. I go back to the units. If the operator had put the fabric warehouse where it should have been, we wouldn't be here discussing this. We would be further on down the line. And you know, I look back at the time and the effort that's been wasted on. It's just, it's unacceptable. You know, and we were promised that this would be a better way. Not you, Travis, but I say Relay has even admitted that it's too costly to go that way. I mean, we were told 2 million to put those two warehouses down by the bridge. Whereas to move the one off of the bulkhead to where it should have been was 213,000. And if I'm not mistaken, that was also to repair the damage from the truck run.
It is included.
I have a problem, you know, simple math just goes to show you, we waste time and we can't afford to do that. I want you to be successful. I want you to be profitable. Because if you're not, we're not. That's a fact. That's simple business. But when we go through all of this, we brought the neighbors in, we worked with them, we came to a consensus and how we're right back what I say, hey, you know, we had to Z, now we're back to A. So, um, commissioners, we need to make a decision. Are we gonna allow this? Or are we not going to allow it and have the fact where I'm put into it original engineered approved location?
I asked Chairman for, a street view of, I guess, from, photo rendition, which is what permitting would give you. When you go to the permit office, they will give you an elevation uh, and an aerial shot, which is provided. But from Escambia Street, if you can see this, commissioners, the white building would be everything that is containers. So this would all be the white building all the way across here, as opposed to right here. And so when you think about like what people are gonna see when they drive by, it's gonna be a wall of white all the way up to the fence line, as opposed to a dome here where we originally located. And I think these details matter. You can't imagine it until you see the picture, which is why those renderings are so helpful to the people trying to make the decision. What is it gonna look like? Does it look like it makes sense? Right? The building is much bigger than what we approved. We approved two buildings that are smaller, that are similar to the existing building size. And now we got one big one,
Yes, ma'am.
which is big and white. It's very bright. Okay? And it's an outdoor for the people that are having to look at it every day. And I know that's not our job to be making beautiful views for people, but it does impact people's perception of what's going on, right? So I just want you to see that, because if we're approving it in that orientation and you're gonna hate it, say it now. Because personally, I would not want it to be big and white. Personally, I think big and white is hideous, right? I prefer military draft. I mean, that's great. It wins. It goes away. That'd be wonderful. And I asked for y'all to look into a different color. I haven't heard anything. Nothing.
And,
Are they gonna change out the cover? Is it 100%?
that is not in,
changed out?
that's not in the scope of the work that I have in Hicktop.
That's work, that's why I'm asking this question, because that was my understanding. There was an inquiry about changing it to the sand, drab, whatever. And we were told, if my memory serves me correctly, that it would be an additional $85,000 to switch those colors. Well, I mean, I like white when it comes to spending another 85,000. We can't do that. And here we're listening, and I appreciate your honesty. And you and I have had a discussion about it. But we have two empty fabric warehouses. I want to point that out. We need those full. I, if they were full of cars, but Commissioner, they're empty. This is something that we need to look at. Uh, and Travis, in no way is this, in my opinion, reflection on you. I've been in that seat. Orders come down, they go up. So, bear with me. But I know, and I hate the term bamboozled, but we've been bamboozled. To be honest and to the point. Now, are we going to be bamboozled again? Or are we going to say we want it in the approved location? In the story, let's move on.
Mr. Chairman, I would point out, we talk about, in good faith, dealing in good faith with the board operator. The partnership that we're supposed to have. This predates me getting on the commission. I know since I've been on the commission, we've just about approved putting the warehouse. That warehouse for every single square foot. It's a little bit of an exaggeration.
Yes, it is.
We have effectively whatever the port operator has wanted to do. And every time we've approved it, except for location ceremony, which is part of the problem. Every time we've approved it, it's like, okay, you said you need it there. You don't think you do, but fine, put it there. And then, months go by, and well, now we don't put it there. Well, we're never here. Okay, fine, put it over there. Months go by, well, now we put it there, and we turn that, we want to turn this way. It's just never ending, it seems to be a never ending, just, I hate to call it stall tactics, but whatever word can I use? And what can I use? Help me out, tell me why I should not see it as a stall tactic. It's just, we've been prepared, we've tried to accommodate you. You come in with presentation, and I said, you don't talk. With presentations about, it needs to go here, here's the business case for approved. And then nothing happens, and 2 months later, well, now it doesn't even go there. I had zero confidence that whatever we said, whichever way we said it would be to find a place where there's a.
Well, I'm sorry you think that way. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry you think that way. Again, like I told the board for 2 weeks now, I convinced my boss to do that. I failed in that. After being said that, what have you asked me to complete at that terminal, and what have you asked me to complete that terminal that I didn't say that I was going to get done? So honestly, I failed on that, and I'll come to y'all falling on the sword. No, hear me out, please. Falling on the sword, saying I made that decision. I convinced him to do it. It didn't work out. I messed up. If this doesn't work for y'all, tell me where you want it. I'll get it done. That's where I'm at right now. I have not told y'all I was going to do something and didn't do it, other than failing with this building.
Travis, I want to stop you there because you are correct. You have never looked me in the face and told me you were going to do something that you haven't done. I've even brought that to the board and said that what you say you will do, you will do. You've been put into a bad situation, okay? Like I said, I know orders come down, they don't go. We can make recommendations, okay? We can look at it, but then there's the legal side, the engineer side. We had to go to the neighbors, we had to work with them because that's the right thing to do. And we want to be transparent. But as Commissioner Moore has said, we step out there And then Relay changes their mind. I'm even going back as far as saying Savage changed their mind. They made a bad decision and didn't incorporate this board. That's a bad thing. Because it looks like this board's not in control of anything, which we are in control. And we will make the decision. But my point to you is, in no way, shape, fashion, or form do I want you to feel like this board is looking at you like you haven't done what you said. That is not true. If you're thinking that, it's not true.
You own the port, that's my terminal. Everything that happens inside those gates, around that warehouse, hits my heart.
I got you, brother. I've been there. I know. You take it personal, okay? I'm not attacking you. I'm not talking down. I'm talking to you. I'm sitting here eye level with you. And I want you to understand our position.
I do.
When we commit something, we are forced to keep our commitment as a board. Because if we don't, we're worthless. And I hate to use that term, but nobody believes you.
Yes, sir.
Then it's been 43 years on the waterfront to end up where nobody believed what I said. You and I have had that conversation. But my point is this, commissioners, we need to look at this, and I know that I hate to even roll past this, but we need to go out and we need to take a look at that. Let explain to us individually how he sees that fabric warehouse sitting, what you see on the slide. We need to look at it. I feel like as the chair, I owe that because all the other work you told me you haven't done is completed, with the exception of the two doors that you say you have in the. You've never disappointed. So is there any objection for us to go out there and look at this? Not that it's gonna change my mind, but I wanna be fair with this man and give him the option to show us personally, if you so choose to go. But,
Not together, Mr. Chair, sorry.
pardon, no, that's what I said, you can't go together, I understand you. But to go out there and allow him to take them out and show you. To me, it was engineered to be operated at certain noise. That's the way it needs to go because this board's reputation and voting on it, approving it, it's safe. We voted on it. We said that's the right place based on the engineering and everything that we saw, that's the right place for it. Any objections to that?
No, there's, that's what I'll say in the committee, Travis, holding up to the decisions made, and I will agree that, certainly said, yes, you come in here, uh, stood by everything, gotten it done, in a timely, efficient manner, so we appreciate that. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, I don't even know what option this is, I'm going to now, it's like, having a team, just talk about it every single meeting, I know. Having talked with you outside of here about this, I know you, I know you were going to get it done. I don't really want to be alone, and yes, I'll go out there, be drugs, look at it, go out there visually do that, but I think by next meeting, we've got so there's nothing solid because you further actually correct. There was a deadline given October last year, and that didn't happen, and it just is. It is. We spent, I mean, for 45 minutes of this meeting, talking about this. It's it's dream from the bed and getting where it's supposed to be.
I totally agree, and I will continue to lead the charge on that. I won't give you the option based on what he has said in this meeting tonight. He has a reason. We've listened to the others' reasons, and they haven't panned out. Okay. A double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways, and I think we've seen that through this process. Double-minded. well, we'll move it here, no, we'll move it over there. And they didn't, I'm gonna say they didn't take the appropriate avenue to do that. So Travis, we're gonna give the time, we're gonna be here. Matter of fact, I will meet you out there Friday if you have some time, we'll go over there and look at it.
I am open and will adjust my schedule.
The opportunity to convince this board that it does not need to be sit where it's projected, it needs to be sit where it's engineered. Okay. Any objections to that?
Jared, I feel everything you said, positive about Travis. I appreciate you are willing to go out there and engage. And I don't want this to be taken as an unwillingness to engage. I think the board engaged. I think that we have asked for information, we've asked for schematics, we've asked for drawings. What we're getting now is a picture. And I appreciate your earnestness, and I believe you are competent. But if I was submitting a development approval for a local government body, I would come with all the information to get the action taken at that meeting. I've done that with the government group, and that's what you do, even if you're not a lawyer. Okay, you submit all the information, you provide everything, and you make your case, and you ask for the decision. Because you want to move forward, because money doesn't move without buildings. Okay, and if that was really the interest, that's what we have tonight. Because you would want to move this forward to get in that location tomorrow. Okay, and so that's not what I'm getting, I'm not saying that's your. I put that on the grid, I don't want this to be exact. I say, put it in the original location, they said to us at the last meeting that that's where it is to go. Despite all the other representations to the contrary by your company. So I would have to be crazy to say, let's wait and further delay. I mean, and it's not responsible. It's not responsible. You know, Chairman made a motion that they put the building in the original approved location, which is what at the last meeting they told us that you do. We should our surprise. After much deliberation, the contrary.
I said this location, ma'am. I'm sorry not to interrupt you or disrespect the board. This is what I said when I thought the original location. I wasn't north and south. If that's what the board so chooses to do, that's what I'm moving on tomorrow. I can't, I'm upset that it's gone this far as well. I'm upset for the neighbors. I really am. I want this to be resolved for them as well. So guide me, tell me what the board wants, and I will make it happen. I'm finished.
We have a motion. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to go to the approved location. And Travis is committed that it will start immediately.
I will talk to Coker in the morning. I'll get on it. I'll get a whole new. Yes,
I will still be there all night.
that's fine.
I'll
At
still
this point.
Chair, just to confirm, the location will be north and south.
North and south. Okay, in the northeast corner of the terminal on the high elevation.
Mr. Chair, you said you'll get it cooked in the morning, you're waiting, Kirkland is waiting on the city.
Yes, sir. The permits that they have pulled, one is demolition and two is
The demolition, you got,
in the commercial building, general building, commercial accessories, the other permit. And I assume that's to rebuild it where it is. I still have to do foundation work. I mean, there's no doubt. So I just got to reset it up Coker to go in a different orientation, but I'm on it. That'll be the first thing I do when I get there in the morning.
square footage is still in the city.
It is right, but I mean, yes, sir.
You're not waiting on the city. This spot,
Yes, sir.
we have an avenue that we could go to the city and say, look, hey guys, what's going on with the city?
You can try, I mean, they're gonna, but I mean, that's not necessarily gonna move them any faster in terms of getting the permit out.
I mean, I got an applied date of 2/16. I mean, it was a holiday, but he did do it online. Again, it's our general contractor, a very trustworthy person working through this. So
I'm just saying, I know things work sometimes.
It, normally they should be issuing the permits within 10 to 14 days. I don't have it specifically in front of me, but the Florida Building Code has baked into it now, like specific timelines. They can't just let permits sit out there like the old days where it's months and months before you even have a permit issued. So it should be any time now. It's the 16th, today's the 25th. I mean, that's pretty reasonable. I would say first of next week, at the latest, they should have something out.
Does the city have any drawings?
I do believe, I don't know for sure that Mr. Coker
Can you
presented.
check with him to make sure, because what we don't want to do is confuse them. They're thinking it's going this way and it's actually down to, north and south. I just don't want that to fall under the radar and then we end up with another,
Yes, sir.
okay. All right. Any further questions? All right, it's 48 minutes, one second.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to the ADA compliant website. I think we're at a point that this board needs to,
Approve the contract.
contract,
Yes, sir.
and we can move on with that.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll wait for the motion.
Second,
Okay,
Okay, and Mr. Chair, the only comment I have, and this is really just for the record, I just emailed ADA Ally. I did not, there's some general terms and conditions now that have to be attached to all contracts with local governments. So E-Verify, human trafficking, anti-pollution affidavit, they call it. Those general terms BizBolster executed, and I looked and I said, I didn't see that in the packet, and I just emailed it because I didn't see in my sent that I sent it to him. They're standard, he'll sign them, and so I recommend approval. But those aren't in the packet, and he will sign those general conditions.
okay. We have a motion, to accept the contract. Do we have any objections to, or any further comments?
my second, to reflect it's for the, for the attendee, just.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move into C, renegotiation of operating agreement. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that we all received a letter saying not gonna happen until they see the outcome of the trial. My interpretation of the letter. Any comments on that letter?
I have a comment only because Mr. Lacier called me this morning and let me know that Nassau Terminals had contracted to have him assist them, not just on this, but into the near future, which is good news because we have a local attorney. I've worked with John Lacier for years. And so I'm very excited to work with him again. He did tell me that this is the position right now, was hired 2 days ago. So there's a bunch that he needs to get caught up on. And so this is the position for right now, unless for some reason John Lacier gives them other advice and says we have to do something different, or as the appeal progresses. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah. It's true.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's not, that if they're not willing to work with us on updating our agreement, why are we going to heal this decision? And, I just, we're the last meetings, you said that you can't withdraw from the appeal of the entire.
Yes.
In doing so, the actions come due, then the bond holder will be responsible through relay company.
And this is our position. There's been all kinds of letters and reservations, but generally speaking, the reason that the OPA board and Mr. Kurkowski, the court attorney before me, has said that Relay Nassau terminals would be responsible for paying the taxes is because they assumed the bond indenture obligations for the bond that was issued in 2019. So in 2022, when Relay Nassau terminals signed the operating agreement and it got all of the assignments for those contracts from Worldwide Terminals, they assumed that obligation. And part of that obligation is an indemnity or indemnification agreement, which is very broad in the bond indenture documents. And basically it says, and our position has been, that any costs that the operator causes the port authority to are going to be their responsibilities, literally any costs. Have our maintenance obligations and things like that. That is why, for example, when I have sat in and participated in reappraiser lawsuits, my fees, or some so far, have been reimbursed. We're having a little trouble collecting some of those reimbursements, but that's another issue. But they've been reimbursed. And the only reason the operator reimburses those uses because of that indemnity or indemnification provision in bond indenture documents. So that's the same provision in the indenture documents that would make them liable for taxes. In our position, is that valid?
So effectively, declining to appeal the decision and settle the taxes due.
Yes.
And I mean, they've already said they're not going to supply any letter of intent.
Well, I think if I might respectfully request that the board not make any decisions about, for example, withdrawing from the appeal. I think that we need to give Mr. Lucier the opportunity to get to speed. It's not going to take weeks in order for us to have a better position. Because he doesn't have, and that's what this is their position now, that may have come from E. Polson, that's fine. But John Lucier is now part of this, and he's said he needs to get up speed. So their position may, but for right now, that's where they are. And yes, we are, up against a wall kind of.
Can we pull up the law, ones that you sent to newsletters? Yeah, just
That we discussed, have 2 meetings now.
So this is not a surprise to Ted, it's not a surprise to Travis, but it might have been something of surprise to Amy because she didn't get it until then.
Whenever you said that, yeah.
It was, Monday. You said
She didn't get it until Monday this week.
Well, I don't think, was it Monday?
Okay.
So Ted knew about it. And we've discussed it in an open forum, but we're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. They didn't, corporate legal didn't have a copy of Monday.
And that was, and I take full responsibility, that was my, not sending that. I thought I had copied them, but I didn't.
But what I would like to focus on is what we can do that is not in contradiction to the current operating agreement, or would be a coercion of the current operating agreement. If we're going to, let's try not to create more conflict, right? Let's look at this as less conflict is better for everything's sake. I agree that John has not done any enhanced research before sending this letter. Because I don't think that I think what his letter should have said is, I am new, I have just been retained, please give me time to do some due diligence, and I will have a response to you shortly. That's not what the letter says. The letter says, there's an appeal pending, and we're not going to negotiate while there's an appeal. So what I would suggest that we do is focus on the parts of the agreement that are, that need to be corrected. So there are some scrivener's errors in the agreement. There are some amounts that are millions that should be thousands. There are points about the public records, being destroyed after 10 years, which as we all know, they need to be retained indefinitely. So there's internal conflict that we've already identified needs to be fixed. Patrick has done a lot of work, we have meetings teed up, I've said some of them to Tammy. We also have the list. So through the underlying list, both of having an eligibility and better access for business is really interpreting that exclusivity clause. So those two bullet points kind of go together, and I don't think that's renegotiating the operating agreement. I think that's just a clarifying memo that we could send to the operator and they could acknowledge. And I don't think that's renegotiating the fundamental bargain, that's just documenting the real practice, which is that we do have access, and that exclusivity clause is not what Judge Allen referred to me, which is that you can exclude us, right? That's not what it means. It means you're the exclusive operator, not a competitive operator, right? And then regarding your business, that is, if you're shooting all the recording agreement, you don't have the logistics and timing where it's clear that you shouldn't enter into an agreement with you, with a business line until you prefer. And we've agreed to revenue share, right? And then what happens, to work that out. So I think those three things are really in line with the operating agreement. Right, and so we can prepare that and send it back. And I think we can make progress on that while John is coming in to see his role. Yeah. The revenue share, that we just talked about. So this, the revenue being placed into an OHPA, that's in our charter, in section 4, I think, of the charter. And the public records language, I think, is a scrivener's correction to the operating agreement. The administrative offices being relocated to the board is a new request. That's a net new request. And I think we also, need to address the operators' administrative offices and where those are located, and to notify us of any major changes in their administrative offices, because this recently come up. That the administrative offices are being listed for sale. So I think we should try to co-locate there and get some clarity as to if there are going to be changes to the administrative offices. And then the security contract, I don't know where that's documented. Does anybody else know where the security reimbursement? Maybe I know we have some commitments from the prior operator regarding the security contract. Maybe that's a takeaway for us to figure out like where that's documented. Reimbursement.
I don't think you're gonna follow application of the agreement. It's just historical practice.
It's a past poor practice, because the whole time that I was Ken Morgan and with Worldwide Twin Oaks, it was a set obligation that we had to reimburse over for the security here. And we never argued about it, we never balked at it, it was just understood that was poor practice, and that's what we were.
So, I mean, I think we should move forward with these points and present them and, an amendment or MOU to, operator. And, I mean, if they have to pay for your legal fees, because you're the one having to do the work, then they're. I mean, John does need to come up to speed. I think the fact that they hired him indicates that they aren't trying to, create more conflict with OPA, because I think he's, local, like, great attorney. Their firm has been really great to work with in the past. I know John has a personal family experience with the OHPA Port Authority. His uncle was one of the longest serving court commissioners, and I know that the court is near dear John's heart because he volunteered to serve free of charge pro bono on the Charter Revision Commission, which was a lot of this time. So he's well versed in the charter, and I don't think that he would expect OPA to take positions which are contrary to our charter. And so I think the fact that this is on his letter, his firm's letter to me, it's signed by, John is a positive, right? It's what's in between. I think, I'm hopeful that we can in fact work together. January 1 is when the property appraiser determines status of real property in our county. It's as of January 1, so if your property is rented out as of January 1, it's a rental property. If your property is occupied by you as of January 1, it's your property, so it's a snapshot in time. And I do that as our deadline to have agreements in place and demonstrated to the property appraiser to say, here is the evidence you're looking for of what really has been going on all along, but as of today, January 1, 2027, this is what's been agreed to by both parties.
Uh, yeah, and and not knowing that John Sears was just brought on a couple days ago, and he's great, I like him, and so I think they did make a good decision. It doesn't change that, the update, yeah, and he does need time, I understand he needs time to come up to speed. I thought it was interesting, I don't know who to say this, but in his letter, it says, our client strong said the appeal will be successful. I just remember the outside attorney, Guster, saying, I like the chances. And now this happened. So I wonder how it goes now. But point is, I think yes, withdrawing the appeal is for me on the table, but I want to give times for him. And review the points.
So the next action items would be to, for Tammy to prepare an MOU, draft MOU, and so keep track of your hours, because I was expecting to be reimbursable. We prepared the LOI, and this is for John's benefit, he said he might be listening, spoken earlier, but when we originally prepared the LOI, the intent was to avoid bringing a lot of people from stay a bit later. So, would you mind, Tammy, reaching out to John and just letting him know that he's excited? But that the board's directed you to start drafting, those provisions, and I would expect to see at least a first draft. I know it doesn't give you a lot of time, was
That's fine. I mean, our next meeting is March 8th, 11th.
In 2 weeks.
You should be able to draft.
Commissioner, oh, sorry.
Would you like me to bring it obviously to the board first before it's distributed anyway? Yes?
yes. But you could, you could send it to the board. Before the meeting, so to see it.
Just to confirm, Commissioner Hill, you want all, as I understood it, you want all the bullet points in the MOU. Correct.
The only one that really I see as a net new is the administrative offices. So that would be a net new ask. And so for structure, I don't have any details, but if they are not willing to renegotiate material terms of the agreement, I mean, I think that I don't even think we're there, because I don't think John's really up to speed on any of it. But we can sort of distinguish between what we believe is really just clarifying points that what we already do. And so in our appeal, they're not going to consider new facts, right? They're going to look at all the facts and whether the law is interpreted. But we're not really changing that practice. It's really just documenting it to show the property appraiser, our operating agreement reflects the way we actually do business. And that's why we, not only do we disagree with Judge Otto's ruling and the appeal, but here's the documentation that we actually do. So we can take that to the property appraiser. The net new ask, I think we could, discuss a little bit tonight, about administrative offices for OHPA and the board. Is that something that you think is a good idea for us to be, nearby the board? And do you want to discuss the administrative offices as an operator being put up for sale?
Well, I think we were all caught off guard by that.
Yeah.
You know, we pull up out there and big old sign there, and we're like, we had to walk over there to make sure it wasn't the wrong. But there it is. You know, this again damages the belief in transparency. It does. It causes, you know, us to doubt, causes me to doubt. Uh, but we can have that discussion, but I don't want to spend time on something that we're trying to give somebody to come up, get them up to speed. I think that, there'll be a time and place, that we need to go into it. We need to stand our ground and we don't need to move. Uh, you know, we continually ask for things to be done, and I'm looking at a list of them right here. We still haven't got anything. Uh, I know that we don't drag our feet when we're asked the board or OPA's asked for information, we get right on it and we get it to them. So, I mean, if we're going to work together, let's work together. If we're not, let's say so. Make it easier for us. So, Commissioner Hill, uh, I think at this point, it would behoove us to, allow that attorney, you even stated to come up to speed before we delve into this, and get into it any deeper. Any comments?
I assume that there's a consensus that you wish for me to work on before the next meeting, a draft MOU for your review that I shall email to you by, so I have my deadline the Friday before our next meeting. Fair?
Any objection?
Which is basically next Friday.
Three? Okay. All right, we'll move on. The next item, is, actually D. The public transportation grant agreement on the crane refurbishment. Before we go any further, I'm going to say here we go again. We don't have, I mean, any type of agreement. I mean, we're still waiting on one for the initial crane. We are waiting on one for the automated security gates and CBP, if I'm correct. We still haven't got any commitment. We asked for that to be done. Now, I know that Monday there was some discussion back and forth on who's left. I think that was Saturday. Am I correct in that statement? We were gonna put it on our letterhead or their letterhead.
And I suggested it has to be on,
Their
the
letterhead.
yes.
Their letterhead. Indicating that we have an agreement on the matching funds, before we get into the agreement, so that we don't get an email saying we've changed our mind. And I think that's an insurance policy that we absolutely have to have. Okay, so in my opinion, and I'm open to the board's comments, until we get such agreements signed, there's no sense in throwing another one in the bucket. And that's exactly what we're doing. If we sit here tonight and say, yeah, we'll go ahead and approve the refurbishment grant application or wherever we're at with that, it's not going to do us any good. We need that commitment from them saying whatever the matching funds are, we're going to go down that. Any comment?
No, sir.
And Chair, we do have that. I received it, I think earlier this year. It's all three of them.
He signed all three of them.
So all we need is, approval.
Okay, when did we get that?
Earlier this week, if I can say it.
So it's at least Monday.
It wasn't in the packet, so
No, it was not.
Okay.
It was too late.
we gotta be careful. We can't throw things out.
One moment, please. One moment.
Yeah, he signed off each of the three.
Yeah, Ted sent it to the whole board.
It was Monday.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
there were lots of changes this week.
since it was not on the agenda, in the packet,
Thought it was.
One moment, Chair.
It's in the bottom of the pack.
Yes, yes, it's in the, it's in the packet.
Here, page 77.
It's page 71. It starts on page 71. And it was sent after hours on Monday, so I had to.
The late edition.
Mhm.
Yeah. So do you, are you looking for a motion? To approve, the agreements so that the chairman can sign?
Correct.
Motion to approve the.
do you have a motion? Do we have?
We are on 7D as in Delta. Okay. We have, that is a new grant agreement for a crane refurbishment. And it's in the packet.
So each of these items, I would just like to say a few words. So the crane refurbishment is from what I understand, very good by FSTED because it's a not only a more affordable project, but it helps to utilize an existing asset in place. So I think FSTED is very happy that this has converted from a whole new crane and a scrap situation to a refurbishment. The automated security gates, we've been needing that for some time. That helps, we have security issues. And so all we've been waiting for is this matching agreement to get signed, move forward on those. The funds are there. If Relay is prepared to start invoicing and moving us forward, I think those are critical security upgrades. And then CPP facility, I don't have to beat that horse, like everybody knows that we need to invest in all of these projects, so. With the matching agreement, we have commitment that if we sign these grant agreements with FDOT instead, that we are going to get the matching funds from Relay, so. I mean, I think that's a positive, it's just the aside this and then move forward with the grant agreement. But I'm just gonna put this in the miscommunication file.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's my motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seconder.
Who
Sorry,
seconded the motion?
Who did the motion
I was motion.
to approve the new grant agreement?
The matching agreements with Relay.
Oh, okay.
To actually approve that letter.
So
From-
7E. Approve all three grant matching agreement.
Correct.
Okay,
Who
and
has
who's second? Sorry,
I'll take his side. I think you.
Taylor.
You.
Taylor.
Mhm.
Okay,
I thought you did it for you.
Well, now it's Commissioner Hill.
it's gonna be Commissioner Taylor. It's second. All right, got it.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on that before we move on?
And that, just to clarify that, we lose resolution 2026-401.
The one that we held off on that we had delayed for CBP,
Mm-hmm,
it does include that?
mm-hmm.
Oh, smart.
I got it in there.
You did.
It does it also contain the crane refurbishment that he spoke to us about at the last meeting?
Did we get the updated from DOT?
Oh, yeah, the new grant agreement for the crane refurbishment is on the meeting packet.
Okay.
However, I do believe Commissioner Hill, yeah, we reviewed the resolution, correct?
My motion was for the,
Sorry.
was for the letters. Letters?
Yeah, let's vote on the
Let's do the
the
letter
grant
first
matching.
and separate.
And it's all.
Okay, so the
Unanimous.
resolution 2026 R1.
We need, the board needs to approve first the grant agreement for the facility, CBP facility.
So that's our 01 on there.
No, the grant agreement first
We
from FDOT.
did the free granting.
That was the reimbursement. agreement.
No, that was the grant matching agreement from Relay.
But
Okay,
then
that they're
there's a
going to
resolution.
cover the local match. So now the CBP facility grant agreement was deferred and was never approved by the board because it was deferred. So we need to approve it tonight. No, because the 2026 R01 is the resolution for that agreement.
But that's what they're approving.
Well, you
That
need to approve.
includes the agreement. When they say we vote to approve resolution 2026-R01 approving, they can add that language approving, because that resolution is what it says it's approving grant agreement, right?
It's up to you guys.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve resolution 2026 R08 TV facility.
You have a second, all in favor?
I see in here. R03.
And that is. Commissioner Moore, is that 2025 R03?
No,
No, I see 2026.
2026. Okay, so that's the new resolution for the crane refurbishment.
So we need to approve that too now.
Correct. 7D, you need to approve.
Okay, so I just have one change to the resolution. This was originally for an acquisition of the crane, and in the packet that's posted on the website, it still says acquisition. And so I would just request that everywhere that it says acquisition, it says that would change to resolution.
I thought I changed that when we spoke. Okay,
So it appears, it appears in the third whereas clause. Third, fourth.
I have to support the acquisition of said crane, whereas this FDOT grant will pay for 50% of the total cost of crane acquisition, which is estimated to be total cost of 2 million.
so instead of acquisition, you should say refurbishment.
Oh, got it.
So the motion then is to approve the resolution as amended when the motion's made. Replacing term acquisition with refurbishment.
Changes in the amendment.
You can make a general comment to just replace throughout, and it shall be done.
Thank you, Brad. I make a motion to approve resolution 2026 R03 related to frame refurbishment, incorporating all changes as. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on. Stormwater inspection. Travis, can you give us an update on that?
Yes, sir. So the timeline on this, Inspector Luke Lewis came out on February 17th and We met in the warehouse office. He first reviewed all the documentation. I mean, I could list each one of them if you like, or I mean, I could tell you that everything was in compliance. That took about 45 minutes to an hour. Then we walked to the warehouses, looked at the used oil confinements, double walled. He was good with that. We walked to the terminal. He saw the fuel tanks, looked at each one of the drains on the terminal, to see that they were clean of debris. We looked at the outfalls on the north end of the terminal. He considered everything to be in compliance. And I'm summing this up. I can give you all plenty of details if you like. And he sent us an email later in the day. There was no more issues that needed to be, there was no issue to be solved, and that he would send a letter to this board no more than 30 days from February 17th, saying that everything was in compliance.
Okay, once you receive that for that,
I believe it initiated with Commissioner Taylor. I know that this side of the table was on there as well. As soon as I get it, I would make sure it's forwarded, but I do know that when he originally came, he spoke to all of us. But yes, sir, I will ensure that it gets to the board.
all right, thank you. All right, moving on down, let's, the, G Shrimp Fest update.
Yeah, obviously, and zoning, conservation department, they said there is no zoning issues, plus the take parking for the, shrimp fest, and that was on all three, parcels. They had some, initial questions about, the 1-2 status of the, two parcels by the others themselves and getting, but they ultimately said they had no issues with any of those. I'm putting together a list of potential charitable organizations. Actually, one has already reached out to the Nassau County School of Fishing Association. I haven't gotten back with me, but you know, looks like hopefully we get some interest and move from there. That's pretty small. And what would be the process for that? Do we need to enter into a formal agreement or?
Um, a little license agreement, which isn't a lease, it just says this is a license for you to use property to collect your revenues. I've got plenty of these. If you want me to, well, if you want me to do that, ask this board if you'd like me to draft something like that if we're at that point. And I can do that and then submit it to whoever the contact persons for the shrimp festival. Is it not the shrimp? Well, like, it's gonna be the charity, right? The high school folks?
No, sure.
Okay,
Like I said, just, the first people I contacted was the National County Sport Fishing Association.
gotcha.
They got back with me.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. He didn't say in his message whether, yes, we want to do it, or, hey, thanks. Thank you.
So it's a license agreement to allow another party to use it. If they are organized and, insurance, ideally, we're not gonna get some of these poor not-for-profits to have $1,000 a year worth of insurance, but it certainly protects hope. So if it's a bigger, like, sports fishing folks, they put on tournaments and stuff, they can probably afford to get insurance. So I guess we just wait and see. That would be my biggest concern. So if you're going to assume the risk, just make sure that you're thinking about any of these groups that come in. If it's one of the high school groups or, small foundation, they're not gonna have insurance.
Okay. Is there a need to, and I'm just asking,
Mhm.
is there a need for, if we get multiple nonprofits interested, is there a need to put that up? Any sort of,
No, you don't have to bid it, no, sir.
Doesn't pick
Yes.
whomever the wisdom of the board was.
Or a public process and making sure that you vet all of the interested parties, that's the fair thing to do.
Just Commissioner Moore, based on last last year's experience, whoever we pick, they need to know now.
Yeah.
Because they'll tell all of their constituents to park there, and that's the only reason anyone will know.
Right.
So I mean, we need to just pick one.
Yeah, that's why.
It's not, I mean, frankly, it's not huge, it's not a huge amount of money, and it's a lot, but the key is getting it worked.
Right, yeah, that's by next meeting, I should have, a solid list of, parties that, and I'll move out through the
Perfect.
county to be appropriately distributed to the,
You have a preference on the aviation, you, yeah, I don't know, they would be bold with that.
yeah, I got no problem. And,
Who was the aviation group?
you saw the email, her name is, but when the city responded, back and said, you're okay, there's no zoning change requirements that are necessary for it. They also mentioned that it's the funding of each some aviation.
The reason I ask is because there are a couple of not-for-profits or very small organizations based at the Fernandina Airport. One of them is the Experimental Aircraft Association. And that doesn't mean they're doing like crazy kind of flying drones or anything, but and then there is Civil Air Patrol, and then there is another group that I just know because I have, kids, is they will take kids every April up for a flight free over the island. So if it's one of those, I just was curious.
I will have a letter to through the other commissions before the next meeting. That way we can discuss and make a selection.
Should I have the fire involved, because the school that participated last time, I kind of felt bad that they did such short notice, should I reach, I mean,
Yeah.
if you reach out and just give them a shout out, and then just contact you. Okay.
Or give me that information.
Sure. Yes, you may have it, graduated. Do we have the appropriate signage on all of our lots about the possibilities or liabilities?
I don't know that there's anything on the shrimp lot. On the shrimp lot, I don't know that there is at all, to be completely honest.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. That we get some prior to the shrimp festival.
Would you check into that, Penny, and see what verbiage that we need?
Say that one more time.
Verbiage that we might need for signage on this vacant lots, we're not responsible.
The last time the operator, put up like ropes and like, no parking.
Not last year. I don't believe so, but if you don't mind asking the board, you tell me exactly what verbiage you want on a sign, I'll get the sign.
Yeah, we see these signs, right, in our lives as we go around. So one of the things in my experience is, unlike some signs that are specific under Florida statutes, like for towing,
Right.
that the language is there and it can relieve government agencies of liability. These signs, like, we're not responsible for your valuables. That's, those signs don't mean a thing. In terms of if something really happens and somebody sues, they don't really help. What does help is insurance. So if we have a group that's going to use it, the best thing we can do to protect OPA is to find a group that is able to carry the insurance. And if they have any questions, if you talk to any groups or whoever's communicating with them, they say, oh, insurance, we've never had insurance. It's actually cheaper than people think it is, especially for a couple of days. For liability for a parking lot, I would think it's really cheap. So they can call me and I can try to help guide them on how to find that type of thing. So those are my comments. Those signs are, sure, it tells people, lock your cars, your valuables are not our responsibility. But the fact is, if there is real negligence, especially gross negligence, those signs don't mean anything. And I would think that with OPA, giving it the use to somebody else, we're going to transfer that risk to the other party if we can.
We're referring to the lot that's on Front Street, correct? That one single lot?
That
and the one, from Customs.
The two empty lots.
That,
So
there's 3 lots.
So Commissioner Hill, just for going backwards, when I said about the ropes and all that, what we did last year on this past year, the lot on Front Street, we just locked it. So I don't, the lots up there, I was not involved with. I mean, it's early in my tenure, so I mean, but just let me know what I need.
We used the one for.
I swear we locked that. No. Yeah, it's the instruction.
Got a lot of them.
You know, and I would think people have off, so, I'm sure that some of these incidents could be covered under their auto policy.
Something.
I was just wondering what the school did the last time they used it.
We have insurance. Pardon me.
Well, and the good thing about the school is that like the teachers are used to feel called upon to do volunteering, so like they immediately had a whole host of volunteers to go out and man the parking gates, which is like, that's the thing, it's 3 separate lots. You don't have one central spot full of spaces. So like for the number of people doing man hours to take money, it's really a lot for a small.
Teachers are pretty good track.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
They know how to.
Indeed.
Okay, so you'll look forward to, on that. All right, as it says, no new business. Any further comments, concerns?
I would like to say one more thing, Chairman, sorry, grievances. It's probably been 40 years at least that the blue line spot on Third Street has been associated locally. And it's a really big deal that that property is at for sale. And we didn't really notice that that was. And from what I understand, those offices were as recently as, 2 months ago, going to be utilized for a business proposal. No. And so the sentiment among the board is that relay terminals is not communicating with OPA and doesn't have a long-term view. That's the sense I get, and that's the sense that people who support David tell me they have.
Well, I'm not gonna, we listed it. Don't know where it's going. I'm not gonna comment on what happened with the customer that we were gonna try to fill with it, but we listed it. We do not use the building. When I moved to the terminal, there's 2 people that were in there. One of them was part-time because she's commercial. The other one was married and she followed me. We used the terminal building, the marine building. That's where I wanted to be. We do not use it other than when we have, yes, it's very few and far between. We listed it, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the board, but we listed no different than y'all listed your lots. Sorry that the communication wasn't there. I apologize for that. If that's on me, I take responsibility for that also. It's listed.
You're saying you take responsibility, but just respectfully, we've had so many different people sitting in your chair. And it doesn't mean that I don't know you as an individual, and years from now, I'll see you on the street, I'll shake your hand. But we've had so many different people sitting in your chair that for your company to take it upon yourselves, list that property, which is through finance in advance, when your company has an obligation to keep a local office, given that that's a historic building, it's been associated with and is literally intertwined with the infrastructure of the port, physically intertwined on the property. The 2 properties have improvements, okay? Good luck with the title. Good with that, as you guys work that out. That was open free at several points in time. It was sold back and forth between the 2 properties. There's a lot of history with that house. A lot of history. And frankly, as operators come and operators go, and you all have willy-nilly listed for sale, and we get an email from your realtor saying, y'all might be interested. That doesn't sit well with this board. We are interested. We are very interested that Relay Terminals is deciding to sell the historic captain's house.
Noted.
I know that, previous owners don't necessarily have any, rights, but, we paid, according to tax records, we paid $1.3 million for that house. And we sold it to, the predecessor, and we paid $100,000.
No, I was well aware of that when you spoke to the Senate about that last Monday. I remember that.
So,
What time is it again?
no,
Any further discussion?
yes, yes. All right, just come. I just noted. That was very. We need to move forward on this. It is in the agreement that we are responsible for this. Absent the ability to get anybody who step forward and say, this is what we think it will cost. We should probably put out in writing. Find what such a thing would cost to determine where to come funds. The CIMR is perfectly situated to do that. It's just a matter of how much is it going to cost and when we have that fund. Obviously, if it's a $30,000 project, we can get that done on quickly. If it's going to be a $150,000, $200,000 project, then we're going to have to get a grant or something to do that. But we need to start thinking about that and start moving forward and making definitive plans on how we can address it. Because, obviously it's a concern, UA's understandable. It is, in the agreement that we need to take care of that, so we need to take care of it.
Mr. Moore, I'm working on it. I spoke with local and spoke with left messages from Mr. Hanson, and but I was corrected tonight by the chair that I need to talk to Mr. Solomon. So I'll engage with him and talk about my work. But
I think John Solomon, since he done it in 2022, you weren't there, of course. But his price that he put out there was reasonable, and the operator took it on himself. Go ahead and get it done. Okay. He'll work with you on the price. You just tell him what you got. Can you send Commissioner Cole his contact information? Make it easier for them.
okay, that'd be great.
That way you can call John, talk to him yourself, and just tell him we need a carbon copy of what he done at the south end of the dock. You said that 38 feet on the north end was acceptable.
That's what we got it posted on the internet right now. I mean,
And setting at 38.
I will send that to, yes, yes.
Trying to see something. It's also posted on the one man on your site. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Get to the bottom.
Okay.
Get some answers.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further comments?
To keep this real brief, Front Street property, the USDA has a rural business development grant, that pays up to 100%. Studies with no match. It's not over right now, but it's kind of a different source of money. We need to start monetizing the properties that we do have to try to get off of the just the port. We need to expand our business portfolio so that Oklahoma, as opposed to what we has money to be able to foster economic development throughout the county. That's it.
All right. Anything else? Meeting